this 2021 prelims exam? Yes, you might fail in 2021 prelims exam. UPSC prelims exam, like every year, is approaching. Lakhs of aspirants, like every year, is preparing for this exam. The 2021 exam is far approaching. And you know, lakhs of aspirants write this exam. Even lakhs of aspirants apply for this exam. The competition is too high. Yet you know, only few people in thousands among the lakhs qualify this exam. Have you ever wondered why people fail in this exam? But that's a fact. People are failing in this exam. Lakhs of people get eliminated in this preliminary exam. Have you ever failed in this exam? Or do you have a fear in your mind that you will fail in this exam? 2020 prelims is coming up. And failure is always a very, very bad thing. Very difficult to take. The key question is, will you fail in this 2021 prelims exam? Yes, you might fail in 2021 prelims exam if you don't focus on the right things, don't focus on the right things at the right time. Do you want to find out what are those things? Stay tuned for this video. This is Arjun or Shaankar and you're watching LearnStroke. Failure is the most difficult thing to handle. And it's really painful. And when it comes to civil service examination, it is even more painful because the average number of years or the time span that an aspirant spends on civil service examination is so high. So if you prepare for a longer period of time and you spend a lot of time, and when you don't qualify, especially the prelims examination is the entrance gateway to this wonderful examination, and when you don't qualify, it is really a painful feeling. And have you ever thought why an aspirant really fails? What is the reason, or what are the reasons why an aspirant really fails? It can be many. Sometimes they say that my preparation was very wrong, I did not focus, I did not concentrate, I did not study all the subjects. It can be many. There are many reasons, and put together in this session, we are going to put few theories or few most important points which we say will be very helpful not to fail in this exam. So I say, just like we say normally, there are two things, heart and soul. It's a very normal concept which people talk about. There is a heart and there is a soul. Just like we talk about the heart and soul, I say in this, when you talk about the examination system, the heart of the exam is the content. The soul of the exam is the practice. So on one side you have the heart of the exam, which means the content, and on the other side you have the soul of the question, which means the practice. So in my theory, normally it happens with everybody, it's not purely my theory, it is what we feel. Normally people fail either because their content or because of the practice is wrong. So just like in economics we study about the supply side and the demand side, you normally say there is a demand side and supply side. In order to decode this whole topic of why people fail, I thought we'll take two sides of it. One is the heart side and one is the soul side, and we'll discuss the content side and the practice side separately. If you get this together, if you piece this together, I think nobody can stop you from clearing this exam. So in this session, let's discuss everything eventually one by one. And first, we'll discuss the heart of the question or the heart of the issue, which is called as the content. Before we move on to the content related discussion, just as a small trailer before the heated discussion just begins, I'm just putting a small thing for your idea, and you have to take a lot of things from this before we move on to the content part. Just check out this picture. What do you see actually? And please mind, this is an original depiction of a very famous thing. We are not discussing about the original theory or original episode. Just take it as a small imaginary thing and imagine this as a chapter from history, because this is actually showing a battle or a war. So just imagine this as a chapter in history which we have to study. So this is just an illustration of how things work, and just try this. You just see a small battle and you see the whole scene. There are elephants, there are soldiers fighting. So most probably this will be a war of people fighting, and most probably that will be kings, two kings. So you will normally study about this. What is this person? Who are the persons? What is this battle? What are the reasons of the battles? And what are the consequences? So on. You study the whole thing. But my question, more than 1 million people write this exam. 10 lakh people normally appear, and all of them study the same books. Perhaps almost 99% they study the same materials. Then why do you think that only few thousands clear? Is it because people don't study this? That is where I want to start my discussion on this. This is a small chapter or small illustration of what you study, and you know everything. But when we work on this image, I'll soon tell you how this works. I'll tell you why people don't study the exact things from this. So stay tuned. We are getting right into the discussions right away. We have discussed about the image, and I think the image is fresh in your mind. We will go to the image and we'll discuss the heart portion, because you know heart and soul. We'll discuss the heart portion of the question, which means the content side. Practice side will be discussed very shortly. So as a part of the content side, the first thing is what you call handling your preparation kit. And what is your preparation kit? I've just given a new terminology. This is something that you know. Your preparation kit basically includes the books, the study materials, the toppers notes, the current affairs magazines or the current affairs materials, NCRTs, everything which you have at your disposals to study for the exam. This is the preparation kit. And the first target study for this is how are you going to use or how are you handling the preparation kit? That is the most important thing that we have to discuss. So when you handle the preparation kit, or basically you use the kit to study and load the things in your mind. So there is a serious problem or a serious flaw in the way you study and load things in your mind. Maybe that is the first area which we want to discuss. So when we discussed about handling the preparation kit, two important topics come here. And the one is called understanding, and the second point is called concept clarity. Because you are studying something, you are learning something, and you're trying to save it in your mind. So definitely understanding and concept clarity is the most pivotal part. And let's see how we handle it. So when you feel that you're not able to crack up question in the preliminary examination, that definitely means there is a serious problem with your understanding level or the concept clarity of the topic. So let's see how it actually manifests and how it works. Just check out the image which we just checked. And you saw the image, we have discussed, I have given you a brief intro about the image. Now for the academic purpose, just see the image. How it works actually. I think imagine this as a history chapter, you know that. And you have studied almost everything from this. You know the name of the battle, you know the name of the persons, the commander-in-chief who is clinging onto the elephant, you know the day of the battle, the date of the battle, perhaps everything, you study everything. But what if UPSC preliminary examination or the UPSC asks a question from this area? You know everything, and take a close look at the image. Do you see a mountain-like thing in the backdrop of the war? What if UPSC in the examination gives you an option like this? Let's call the battle X. The battle X which paved the way for it in India, or anyway, the battle X which created a main, you can frame the question anywhere you want, just keep X in your mind. The battle X which created a lot of things was actually in the foothills of the mountains called Y. You know everything. You know the name of the battle, name of the person, name of the commander. But how many of you must have observed that it was actually fought on the foothills of this mountain called Y? Then you will think, I know everything about this. Oh, how could I seriously miss out this mountain's name? But they asked us. So the problem was here, you studied everything, but you did not have a complete grip over the whole topic. You missed out so many things. I just named the mountain. There may be other things which you might have missed. But this is a question that normally they ask. I can also suggest a question to illustrate. Let's see, I'll just put a question here. Just check out this question which appeared in 2020 prelims examination. They asked a question, sea urchin. Siachen Valley is situated where? And Siachen was in the news. People are talking about, everything about Siachen. This does not mean that you have not answered this question. I am actually talking about the larger group of people. There are people who have studied everything, they crack all the questions. So basically it is not for them. I'm talking about people who find it difficult to crack this. Just see, Siachen was actually in the news for many reasons. You know about Siachen, the highest battlefield in the world. You know it, everything about it, the China issue, everything. But the simple question they ask, where is Siachen located? And I see a lot of people, it was a geographical question. That means you need to, when you studied this area, you could have got that geography well. And that is the reason why it became a tough question for many people. Many people got this wrong. Or it was not that easy. And people who got it right, congratulations, you know that thing. But for the larger number of people who did not get it, it was a tough thing. So this is what I said. There is always a problem of understanding. And the image that I used was just to show you how things can go wrong. You saw the image. And the biggest takeaway from this is the point of understanding, or the level of understanding that you must have got this. And the image, as you saw, basically corresponds to a chapter of a book or a topic of your area of an important subject. So the real pertinent question at this point is, what is your understanding level when you studied an area? Is it that 100% strong, you know the entire thing about an issue, or just 40 to 50% of the thing? And here comes the most deadly thing which a civil service aspirant always has, is psychological satisfaction. People are psychologically happy. When you study an area, you invest a lot of time, say 10 to 15 or say 2 hours or 3 hours in a topic, and you feel that you know everything. What happens then? You only feel that you know everything, but the reality happens like this. I can actually show you my finger. If this is a full topic, you must have seen 3 folds like this. If this is a topic, if this is 100% of the topic, what we normally do is actually we spend a lot of time, we come up to this point, and we feel that, yeah, I know everything about this topic. That is a psychological satisfaction which gives you a feeling that you know everything. But you should know the top layer is still unoccupied, which can be dangerous. What if they ask such questions in the exam? So the cardinal rule here is always know the area fully with great level of understanding. That is an important thing. And the next thing is concept clarity, which is almost very similar to this. It might even sound synonymous with understanding. It is called concept clarity. If you know a concept, having an absolute clarity on that topic is also very important. How many aspirants have this? How many of you can actually take this and ask this question yourself and find out, take an area X, whether I know the 100% of that area with absolute level of understanding and absolute level of concept clarity? How many of you can be so sure about that? I can also give another example for this. There was another question in 2020 paper. I'm just quoting all the questions from 2020 so that you must have got a good idea about this. So the question was this. They asked which of the following countries, as you can just see, which of the following countries are G20 countries. So you can see a lot of list of countries here. Which among them are G20 countries? The moment you hear G20, is this an area which everybody knows? You must have studied G20 in your preparation. You know about G20 countries, but what are the options? And the first thing when you see this, the idea that comes into your mind will be United States, United Kingdom, Japan, Russia, France, European Union, etc. But how many of you must have remembered the name of South Africa, Turkey, Argentina and Mexico? Maybe a lot of people must have got it wrong. If you have got it right, again, congratulations for that. And people, I think majority of people must have had a small issue in this. That is because when you studied G20, did you have that proper analysis or the understanding level, or did you check out with absolute concept clarity? That was the problem. So if you had an absolute clarity on this, you could have easily solved this question. That is the real point involved in this. So we are talking about the content side, and most importantly about the understanding and concept clarity, or handling your preparation kit, which includes your books. So what is the one thing which I would like to tell you is that I've created a code name which I feel should definitely be in your preparation. And this is actually something which I have seen in my experience in the last 12 years of how people have been preparing. And we call it as Marksmo. It's called MUGSMO. You can call it as Marksmo. It's actually a short form which we created. It is actually a reflection of the preparation. So Marksmo is an acronym or a short form which means mug, save and move. That makes mug, save and move. I say normally all the aspirants who normally fail, their preparation strategy is basically mug, save, move. What is this mug, save, move strategy? Mug is something that you mug up everything. That means you study, put up everything, you mug up everything. Save is the moment you take something, you mug it up, you save it and you move. And this is the most quickest manner of preparation because every civil service aspirants have tons of things to prepare. I know that. And unfortunately, at a point beyond your speed, after some time, Marksmo happens. That means you take the study materials, you know that you are running late on schedule, you have a time to catch up, you have only a few more days left, and you have tons of materials to clear. What is a normal thing to be done? So people do this, they take the materials, they study, they mug, they save it, and then they move to the other topic. Mug it, save it, and move. What is the biggest drawback of this? You, after a point of time, only get a feeling that you know the things, but I am not able to recollect it. Just like you study G20, I have studied G20, and that is the most dangerous, or it's not a dangerous thing, but a very painful thing. When you see the question paper that all the 100 questions are areas which you have studied. But when I look at the option, oh my God, I'm not able to recollect it. I know the topic, but I don't know the options. Is that very painful? That is the most painful thing. So Marksmo, that means Marksmo only gives that feeling. You mark the topic, that means the topic is in your head. You save it and you move. There is no clarity. Where is the clarity? Where is the understanding level? You know the topic, but where is the understanding? Where is the clarity? That is the moot question that we ask. So what should you really do? This is a super quick technique, but in my opinion, aspirants should really think about, which I called as RUIM. You can see RUIM. You can just see RUIM, which means read, understand, imprint, and move. Why is RUIM a successful thing? I'll tell you. RUIM is much better than Marksmo because you get a topic, you don't mug, you read it, you understand the concept, you lock it, that means you imprint it, and then you move. So it is much more slower than the Marksmo process, but still, you read a topic, you read about G20, you read about Sea Urchin Glacier, you read about anything. The moment you read it, you are trying to visualize the whole thing and you're trying to understand the whole thing with concept clarity. Rather than just loading that thing, this is that, this is this, let's move. No. In this, you actually try to read it about the whole topic. Okay, this is all the things, okay. These are the things which are going to happen. Perfect. You understand the concepts and you imprint it. That means you load it, imprint it, then you move. This is going to be the most helpful thing for aspirants. Because why are we running? Have you ever thought about this? Why are we moving like a super fast express only to fail at the gateway of the civil service examination and prelims? No, we need to clear it. Talk to any topper, talk to any civil servant or any student who have cracked civil service examination. They will tell you that you need to have this reading, understanding, and the concept clarity. If you don't have it for the prelims, just ask people, how are you going to clear the mains examination with this Marksman Effort? So if you do this RUIM in the prelims, that is going to be the pedal stone for you for the mains examination. Without reading, understanding, and that imprint about every topic, how are you going to write this? So this is which people normally say study for the mains. That means each and every area that you study, read it with absolute understanding, concept clarity, imprint that and move. There is absolutely no race. So please delineate yourself from that race. Why are you moving so fast? Why are you running only to just fail? So keep that strategy out. So that is what I said, Marksmo versus RUIM. In my opinion, RUIM, read, understand, imprint and move, is the best solution. So we were talking about the content management or how to handle your preparation kit. So we have discussed about the understanding part and the concept clarity and the new technique of what we call as this RUIM and Marksmo. And I really feel and I really hope that all the aspirants will subscribe to this technique called as RUIM. It's a bit slow, but it is the most worthy thing for your civil service preparation prelims exam. The next important segment is the book note effect. Might sound a bit crazy and you must be thinking, what is this book note effect? Book note effect means it's a theory which I created and which is applicable to all the aspirants. And when you hear this theory, majority of the aspirants will relate to this theory. The book note effect in short means when you study an area, you have a feeling or you have a sensation that in the examination hall, in the prelims examination, you want to see the questions that you studied from the book. When you get that questions in the question paper, you get a happy sensation or a happy feeling. So book note effect is basically that effect when you see that the area or the topic or even the subtopic that you studied in the book or in the newspaper or in your study materials appear in the question paper. That is a ecstasy. The moment you see the question paper, it is like, wow, I know this question, this is my question. Everybody has a sensation. So this is book note effect. And sometimes, most probably, this can happen or this cannot happen, this may or may not happen. And most of the times in the question paper, you see that you get a lot of questions like this, which are basically this book note effect questions, which come from the areas which you have basically studied, and you are very happy. And some people even out of excitement gets it wrong. That comes in the practice session actually. So too much excitement is also not good. So do you think this book note effect always works? You know, what is the biggest psychological or the very bad psychological thing associated with this? That is something very bad for every aspirant. That thing is that psychological feeling in your mind when you see a question which is not from that book note effect. What happens if you see a question which is not from the book note effect? What happens? Normally, the aspirants see the question, oh, the first thing that they say is out of syllabus question, which normally everybody says. And the next possibility is that, oh my god, they are asking questions from every other area. It's better to skip that question. Is this the right thing to do in the examination? So my humble suggestion is that if book note theory works in the examination, that is perfectly all right. Congratulations to all of you. You'll get correct on all the questions. And what if it doesn't work? That means you should be prepared for all those questions. And I think, check out this question which appeared. It's a question from history. Deshar Katha by Sakharam Ganesh. Almost 98% of the people who saw the questions will not be able to answer this question, must not have thought about this while they prepared it. The moment they see it, it's not a book note effect. It's a question which is actually asked from somewhere. And the first imprint that people have in their mind is, it's a question from modern India. It should, in my opinion, according to the book note effect, it should have been a question from Quit India movement. It should have been a question from non-cooperation movement, a question on Gandhi, a question on Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru. What is this? And if they want to ask a question on books, seriously, they could have asked a lot of questions from the books. There were very other famous books also. So the point is, book note effect really affects an aspirant. So just check a look at the another question also. You see which are the minerals. There's a question on minerals and you see the names centonite, chromite, kyanite and sillimanite. And the moment you see a question on minerals, according to the book note effect, you wanted or you expected a mineral list which you are well versed. The moment you see questions which are not in the books or not we are not heard about, there is a chilling effect especially options in the civil service preliminary examination creates a chilling effect. What will you do? So the point is, never expect book note effect to happen. If it happens, good. If it doesn't happen, even be prepared to solve such questions. And if you seriously have absolutely no clues, in my opinion, which I strongly believe is, some questions are not meant to be answers. That means some questions which they ask in the question paper are not meant to be answered. That can be real out of the box questions. But in my experience in the last so many years when I've seen the question papers, one strong thing which I felt is UPSC in every question normally leaves a small clue in every option. If you're able to find out that clue, maybe you can crack that question, or else you may leave the question. You may just mark the question, leave it and move on to the other question. But my point is, what if the whole question paper or the majority of the question papers is not following a book note effect? So my humble suggestion is that even you don't know that area, don't deflect that question. Read that question, try to figure it out from which area it is being asked. Look out for the options. There might be a clue in the option which can lead you to the right answer. So the point that I wanted to tell you is that if you don't see a book note effect happening, don't worry. Just go through the depth. Read the options, find out if there is a clue. If you get it, hold on to it, crack it. So normally book note effect happens with the school, college examination or the other examination where topics come from the area that you studied. Unfortunately, that does not work in civil service examination. Some questions are always like this. So the theory is, don't get puzzled, read, go into the depth, find out, you may be able to crack that answer. The next important topic that we're going to discuss as a part of the content is the general understanding crisis. What do you mean by general understanding crisis? Very much part of the content part, which that means the heart of the question. General understanding crisis normally happens when you get a question in your prelims paper and that question is actually having an interlinking of options and interlinking of question. What do you mean by interlinking? Some questions, which we can also call it as a dynamic question that appears in the paper, happens to be an interlinking of options. That means if you get a question for economy, or if you get a question for economy, say let's keep it as economy, the options to that questions can even come from geography, environmental aspects also. So there is an interlinking of subjects and interlinking of topics in one question put together. How are you going to face such questions? And normally aspirants have a problem in solving such questions because in one single go, you have to analyze, use your logic, critical thinking, and solve the deadlock of the interlinking of the options. In one question, you have many other topics which can actually come. So that sometimes affects the accuracy of aspirants many times. How are we going to solve this? Just take a close look at this year's question, 2020. There was a question on environmental sustainability and rural roads and how to reduce the carbon footprint. Very much the moment you hear the word carbon footprint, rings a bell, because carbon footprint is something that majority of you know. But the carbon footprint is actually equated to the construction of rural roads, and to reduce environmental sustainability, you hear a new terms like copper slag, asphalt, geotextiles, Portland cement, etc. So many things. The moment you see this, first tendency, environmental question, carbon footprint is something that I know, but I have absolutely no clue about the option. That means, again, the options of the questions are giving you chilling effects. How are you going to solve this question? So the point is, there is a general understanding crisis. That means you should be ready to equate, correlate, use your logic in the most times. And also check out this question. Match the following: the rivers Mekong, Thames, Volga and Zambezi. Again, a question from, call it as a geography or where it goes. How are you going to tackle such questions? That means this is a straight question where you need to know the pair. So I think apart from geography, there is a general understanding crisis about the whole topic, and most aspirants face this. Again, this points to the same root: understanding, concept clarity. But you get interlinking questions, and most often if you need to break the deadlock of interlinking questions, You need to have your accuracy, clarity, and your logic all intact. Apply it, you can solve such questions. That means the only lesson that I'm gonna give you right now is, when you see such interlinking questions, don't get dejected and don't take off your eyes on the paper and don't apply the book note effect theory here. Face it, read it, rural roads, carbon footprint, you will find a clue and you will crack it. So be prepared to take such questions where you see that there is a general understanding crisis. Let that crisis move and may you solve all the questions coming from this. May the deadlock of interlinking questions be cleared. So please follow such questions. You can solve them. Okay? Okay? Yes? Okay. You heard it right. Okay. GK. I think GK is something that people normally hear. What about OK? What about OK versus GK?